Hey folks, Dr. Rowe, hope you are well. Apologies, I didn't live yesterday, so I'm going to see if I can catch up. I've had a seriously busy week. We are painting 800 wooden boards at the moment at my home. So long story, I might even show you a photograph of it. But I wanted to tackle a subject, and the subject is negative beliefs. And more importantly, a belief that I had that held me back for a long time. And it's to do with this, actually. It's to do with my bald head. So many of you know, one of my core beliefs about human nature is that every single human being, those of you watching and everyone around, everyone I come across at any stage, has the ability at any point in our lives. Hey, Peter, good to see you. Let him go for a second. So I actually totally believe that every single human being has the ability at any point to review, to change, and to redirect their beliefs in such a way that they can overcome obstacles or possibly overcome stuff that's held them back in the past. So I think we have to be authentic, we have to be real, and we have to share some of the challenges that we face on a daily basis or a weekly basis, or blocks that may have held us back for years. So here's one. Many years ago, when I started choosing to go bald and to shave my head, what I chose to do was use a blade. But at the time when I did this, and this is like 20 years ago now, I was in Australia and I had an electric shaver with me. And for the first 2 days, I tried to use an electric... Now, bear in mind, this is 20 years ago. Freaking hell. 20 years ago, I basically decided that the electric shaver technique for my head didn't work for me. It left marks, it left scars. Now think about this in your own life. Think about a time when something has happened to you, an incident, an observation, whatever it is, and off the back of that, and I talk about this in my book Turning Point, and those of you that have been around in the communications, we talk about this communication, in the personal development side of things, and the property side, it's freaking huge. We often make decisions as grown-ups based on a belief or a set of beliefs that we've either observed from somebody else, inherited from somebody else, experienced ourselves, or even magnified ourselves. That goes down to physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial experiences, personal relationship experiences, business-related experiences. In my case, head shaving experiences. Why do I keep flashing this around? Because I want to show you a revelation that's happened. I've actually brought this to the office. The kids probably thought, why is Daddy bringing this out to the office? But I've got a meeting in a minute. That's who just called me. So anyway, long story short, I just couldn't get it to work. It was kind of creating a bit of a rash. It was leaving lines on the back of my head. So I went and I moved over to blades. Now, blades are bloody messy. So you have to oil, if anyone's ever done this, you'll know this. You have to basically, I use oil, I have been up until now, or you use shaving gel, froth, like a shaving foam, and you do all around here, and then basically every single day, most days, but not all days, but most days, especially when I'm speaking, going in front of an audience, but even on a daily basis, for the last 20 years, since I made that one decision, one freaking belief, I've been wet shaving. So I get a blade, and I do this and I do that. And sometimes it's a pain in the arse. It goes everywhere, it flicks. I get told off at home by the kids. Sometimes I miss a bit. The other day I missed a bit, and there was a bit on the back of the head here. When you're speaking in front of an audience and I'm getting groomed up to go, it's the last thing you want to have. You just don't want to do it. So then, about a year ago, I think at school this thing called a skull shaver. And it looked a bit like this, and I thought, well, that looks good. But then I thought, nah, you know what? Think about how this happens in life. Oh yeah, there's an opportunity. Now, I remember my mum, this happened to my mum, my dad, my brother, my sister, whatever. Now, I'm not going to do that. So I saw this skull shaver and I thought, nah, no, I tried a shaver 20 years ago and it didn't work. So I let it go. Then about 6 months ago, same thing happened again. This guy said, oh yeah, I'm using an electric shaver. I said, yeah, I tried that, didn't work for me. A simple belief that I'd been holding on for 20 years has meant thousands of hours spent with a wet shave, thousands of clearing up. In hotels, it's awful because you get all this stuff, and if anyone shaves, you'll know if you do your face. And then finally, last week, I just gave into it. I just thought, you know what, Ro, stop doing this. Remember, what are the consequences? And this is whenever you're looking at a belief that you think has held you back, first thing I do is I go, right, what are the consequences of this belief? Has it served me? Hasn't it served me? Yeah, it served me because it's got my head shaved. And you might be laughing, thinking, why are we talking about Ro's head shaving? It's the principle. It's the very fact that it doesn't matter what sort of belief it is. In this case, it's a belief about my head shaving. But if this belief has steered me in a direction that has not necessarily served me as well as it could have done, and that's an important point, it has served me, but not as well as it could have done, then why not fucking change it? So I'm there, I'm having a quick flick through Amazon, and I'm looking at this thing, I look at the reviews, and I'm thinking, you know what, why don't I give it a go? I'm getting fed up with, I was going for days without shaving, because I just couldn't be bothered to shave. And at our house, at the moment, because it's under renovation, we literally didn't have a mirror for a while, so I'm doing it off an iPad. Now, you try shaving off an iPad where the lens is there, and you want to try and get to that bit over there, it's really hard to do, because of course, if I look down to try and get to that bit, now I can't see it because I'm moving the camera around. So I buy this thing. Now, I don't know what the brand is, and I'm not here to promote a brand, but this is awesome. Clean, easy to use, literally. And I thought, there's no way this is going to be close. I'm already telling myself, even as I put it on my head, but all the reviews are like, yeah, this cut's as close as a real shave. I'm like, this thing's like 25 quid or something. I mean, what I spend on blades alone a year. So I'm there, I'm thinking, "But this really works." And then my daughter's come, and I've got my youngest, who's 5, who really likes it when I shave, because she has a go as well. Of course, she can't now. I've got my eldest who's having a look, and then everyone's feeling it, and they're like, "This is amazing, Daddy, this really works." And I don't have to use any water, any oil, any drying. I can even do this and get in there, all this stuff. And in the space of, here's an interesting one, in the space of what? A 5 to 8 minute shave, our old belief system that I've held on to for 20 fucking years was shattered with one shave. One shave. And that's sometimes what you have to realize, is that in life, if there's something holding you back, the best way to break that belief is to do exactly the opposite to it. Do the very thing that you think it doesn't do, you do it. And you prove to yourself that actually, fuck, I can do this. I can make that phone call. I can ask that person for money. I can do this deal. I can do this presentation, whatever it is you've got a block on right now. Just think about it for a minute. So here's my challenge for you, because I've got to go. I've got my phone call to make. It's a Zoom call. So here's my challenge for everyone watching. Think of one thing. One thing. It could be to do with relationships. Maybe you haven't spoken to a friend or a family member, or you've just lost connection with your kids for a while. Broccoli is my equivalent. So Peter Barnard, Pete's great, by the way. Pete says that broccoli is his equivalent. Used to ignore it, and now I like it. There you go. Love broccoli. Mine was oranges, actually, when I was younger. My daughter as well, my youngest daughter, is now going through that transformation at the moment. So we're getting her to break these beliefs. So I told my kids about this, and I was saying, look, this is a really important learning lesson. Daddy's learned something today. Now, I teach this, and I practice it, and I am aware of it on a regular basis. But here's what I completely forgot. I'm being totally, brutally honest with you. I had completely fucking missed that my conversation with myself about a shaver was actually just a belief. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, and I've got to stop now anyway, but whenever you're talking, there's only 2 forms of communication. If you've been on CWI with me, you'll know this. And if you haven't, go watch. I've got a free webinar coming up. We're going live with that actually in about a week or two's time. If you've been through the CWI training with me, you don't need to go on that, because you're a completely different level altogether. But there's 2 forms of communication. There's questions and there's statements. That's it, questions and statements. So, of course, I've been making statements to myself about, no, those things don't work. But that's a belief. What if I change that statement to say, hold on a minute, I've been saying that for too long now. Let's make an assumption. Let's make an assumption that, yes, I can do that. Let's make an assumption that I can talk to that lady that I haven't spoken to but I want to speak to, or that guy that I want to date, or make that phone call to an angel, or eat that broccoli that I didn't think I was going to eat, as Peter just said there. Whatever it is, think of one frigging thing that you know that you've been saying to yourself, reverse it and go fucking do it. And just give it a chance to work. Don't just do it once and then go, it doesn't quite work. It might not be the 7-8 minute revelation that I had, but typically, if you've matured as a human being, your whole psyche will have changed. The way you react to things, your value system, your experiences of the world. So what we're doing is, the point I'm trying to make is, often we make decisions and we create a belief, and then that sets a foundation in. But you know what? Foundations can be changed. You can drill down, you can reinforce those foundations, or you can remove the old foundations and put new ones in. And that's what this is about. Give me a thumbs up if that was useful. Anyway, on that note, I am going to sign off. I'm not going to shave my head because I've already done it. What do you think, by the way? It's a pretty good job. Do you think, everybody? I think it's pretty close, actually. And that's had about 7 hours of growth. Thanks for the thumbs up. You'll give me a thumbs up. Look, not bad, even on the back of the head. So, actually, I've just found out what it's called. It's called a Sportsman. Yeah, anyway, I got that on Amazon. All right, take care, everybody. I will do a separate one on raising money, because that was something shiny. Very good, Peter. Some of you asked about the live I did a couple of days ago on raising money. So there's a couple of things we need to deal with there as well. All right. Thank you for listening. Bye.